now you're going to have the name and the exact date and time that the recording was performed, or at least the time that the report was generated. And so this is a great function. If you do the report right there with the patient, you can see that, and this will all get saved into the database, and also you can print it out into your chart if you want. Okay, now the next two things that we have are brand new for the BioSuite HRV, the 3.0 edition. And the first one here to the left, which I'm highlighting here, is the ANS Activity Index, or the Autonomic Nervous System Activity Index. Now, what is the Activity Index? This is the measure of the patient's overall health of their nervous system. In other words, where this black slider bar is here is exactly where they fell on a scale of 0 to 150, and it's about 102.62, excuse me. The higher the number, the more healthy their nervous system is. The lower the number, the more unhealthy their nervous system is. And what we've done is, if you can see here on the bottom of this is color-coded. So anything above 80 to 150 is considered a good, healthy range. Between 60 and 80 is sort of the yellow, that's sort of an in-between. We have an orange range between 50 to 60, and then between anything lower than 50 is shaded in red, and that's considered to be an unhealthy nervous system activity. And that information is obtained by applying the SDNN function, which is the standard deviation of the normal to normal function, that if you have an older version of the software you saw just in table form, well, now you have it in graph form, and you can actually show and explain this to your patients. And we couldn't have labeled it any simpler. Green means go, yellow means caution, red means stop. And in this case, green means great, you're within the normal limit as far as your nervous system activity health. Yellow is caution. Red is a problem, and that means that that's something that you and your patients need to address. And if we go into great detail about the ANS Activity Index in a different presentation. Okay, to the right of that we have the ANS balance ratio. Now all this is the peak, the average amplitude, or the average output of the sympathetic nervous system divided by the average output of the parasympathetic nervous system. Now if you want to check that, down here at 15.593 divided by 5.398, and we get 2.889. So we're sympathetic dominant, and what we see here is that we're actually, ideal would be a 50-50 balance, but because sympathetic, or the LF, is in red, you're seeing that it's more to this side. If it were parasympathetic dominant, it would be more over here, and it would be more labeled in blue. And so that shows you an at-a-glance graph of the balance between the parasympathetic and the sympathetic nervous system. Now, one thing I need to point out is this does not factor in hypothalamic function, and that's going to be really important when we cover the next part of our presentation. Down here at the bottom, I'm going to skip the middle and I will come back to that. Down here at the bottom is our 9-category graph, and again, if you have an older version of the software, you know that this is something that we have exclusively built into the BioSuite HRV. And here it is again. We've placed it in here, except this time you don't have to do anything unusual. You just simply have to click Generate Report, and it does that for you. A couple of important improvements that we have done, I'm going to scroll down here just a little bit, is we've made the little black box that we had, it's now a larger black dot. And the reason that we did that is so we would have a larger area to cover as far as where the patient was at, and it makes it a lot easier for you, the doctor and the patient, to see. Over here to the right, we have the category display. In other words, the high parasympathetic tone, low sympathetic tone in category 1, and that goes all the way down. And of course, this one falls into category 9. So we're simply going to just select that, and now you can see I've selected that in the little black tick box there, and so that will indicate to your patient which box they fell into. And that brings me to point number 2. What you will notice here with this is that this black dot and the ANS balance ratio are not the same, and that is absolutely correct. The reason that they are not the same is, if you remember me mentioning a few moments ago, is the ANS balance ratio is just the balance between the sympathetic and the parasympathetic nervous system. It does not take into account activity of the hypothalamus. Down here in the sympathetic versus parasympathetic, the 9-category chart, we're applying a function called the natural log, which applies to the entire data set, which you see up here in the Welch's periodogram. When you do that, that gives you that applies the controlling factor of the hypothalamus into the equation. So now we have the whole autonomic nervous system displayed. So if you want to just look at the sympathetic versus parasympathetic nervous system, you can use the ANS balance ratio. If you want to look at the whole ANS and how it factors into the 9 categories, you can come down here and look at this graph. And so that's important to point out because they are different, and hopefully that will answer a lot of questions for folks. Okay, almost last but not least, we have the entire spectral data that is given up here. Some individuals like to see that, some docs like to see that and do that, and especially if they're doing research, they're interested in that particular data, so we left that in the report sheet. And then again here you have the printed number data that we saw on the FFT graph, which was in the previous graph that actually went away when this was generated, and that shows you the average amplitude, and peak frequency of the hypothalamus, sympathetic nervous system, and parasympathetic nervous systems. Okay, so now that we've gone through this, the report sheet that is, we have a way that we can save the data, and there are 2 ways of doing that. And the first is to actually come down and just select the print button, and that will print out the entire report sheet on paper. But the print button has a dual function, and one of the things that we wanted to be able to do was to be able to save the entire report sheet data as a PDF document, and that's a portable document format document. And the reason we wanted to do that is because PDF is has been a long-standing file format. It's compatible with lots of different Adobe readers, and it's also you can import PDF documents into an electronic health record if you have one of those in your office. And so most electronic health records support PDF format, and so we went with that file method as an easy way of saving our documentation. So if we want to save the information, we simply come over and select the print button, and that brings up the print dialog box. And notice up here that you will see Canon Inkjet IP4300 that's highlighted. That's the printer that I have connected to this computer. If I want to save this as a PDF, we've included a Win to PDF function that you have to install separately that we walk you through, and that's a free software that will actually print, and I say that in quotations, the document to a PDF format. In other words, it's going to take it from the screen and convert it into a PDF. So all we have to do in order to do that is select the Win to PDF function, come down and select Print, or excuse me, select the Win2PDF function, select apply, and then select print. And then it asks us if we want to agree with the software license, and we do. And then that brings us up here to the print dialog box, and I'm going to select desktop, and I'm going to save this in the HRV data folder, and we're going to save this as untitled 6/25/2010, which is the name of the document. And then we just simply select save, and that saved the document as a PDF, and it's saved in that file format in the HRV data folder that's on the desktop. Now, if you wanted to just simply print it, or you want to do both, you can come back down, select the print button, come back to the dialog box, select your whatever printer that you have, select apply, and then select the print button, which I'm not going to do because I don't want the printer coming on and bothering the recording. So I'm going to select cancel. So that concludes the walkthrough or the demonstration of the BioSuite HRV 3.0. We hope you've enjoyed this video, and we hope that you have enjoyed the updates if you already have an existing system. If you have questions, please feel free to contact us at our website at www.hrventerprises.com, or the direct telephone number 304-654-9781, and we will be happy to answer any questions that you have. And again, thank you for purchasing a BioSuite HRV, and we look forward to seeing you at one of our HRV seminars. Thank you.